There we go. Now I'm live. Apologize for the All right, so now I'm live here. Already kind of gone through the first round and it's just coming back here through round two and round three. I was hoping to actually there, and I'm not going to go ahead and draft Trey Young. I expect that he's going to have a big season. And then for my turnaround pick here, tough guy that I really wanted, Donovan Mitchell. Scotty Barnes actually went earlier. Want to kind of get Jaw here, but I don't know if that's going to be the right move. Brunson, I think it's a little too early to get him. Murray, I think it's a little too early to get him. It might have to be Jaw. Ooh, okay. So I'm gonna be pretty much good with point guards. Hoping that Jaw stays healthy court here this year. That's gonna be my third pick, sorry, in this head-to-head points league. So thank you guys for joining. Had a little bit of technical difficulties to get this off the ground, so we are kind of already in the midst of the draft. This is a ESPN fantasy basketball draft. It's the first one that I've actually done on camera for you guys. I wanted to kind of run through a few details and stuff of how I do these types of drafts. It's a head-to-head draft, points league, and a snake draft. So I actually got lucky and I got first pick. With my first pick, I picked up Nikola Jokic. For those who have been watching my series um, on, you should be picking up stuff on my top 10 list and my top 100 list. You'll know that Jokic is usually my pick for first in any form. Victor Wembanyama has been a pretty popular pick at first. I've seen him go first in a few of my drafts so far this season. Still strongly believe get the first pick. Nikola Jokic should be your pickup. He's durable, which is super huge. We don't really know the durability of Victor. He's only been in for a season, but Nikola Jokic, while and he gets on. I like that for these types, especially head to head where you need guys available through the year. And then on top of that, he does a little bit of everything. So I'm good with him basically heading the team. Picked up a couple of guards. Those will hopefully be able to get me solid from those categories. Now it's just going to be a matter of really kind of filling out the rest of the roster. So in the first 5 rounds, what I try to do is I try to pick up the best player that's available. And when you look on here, I can throw up the 2020 there. That might help here. Fantasy point games played. Line here. Game feature out of this here, but they do have average draft position. Kind of helpful. I like using this category how players have been drafted. So I look at this and I see drafted in the 35, which I think he's going to have of his second half last season. Um, yeah, so within the first 5 rounds, I'm looking to get best players that I can get to start working on. probably hide my tag here. I like to keep that tag on my Scotty Barnes jersey. Birthday present here. Very, very happy to get. Yeah, so I found that it's key to try and get a good center and a good point guard out of the gates. And I was looking for Young, which I didn't think he this long. So happy to get him. John Morant may have reached for a little bit, but I expect songs for this season healthy. Hopefully, fail to full drama. All right, so we are a couple picks out of picking next. There is somebody that I'm really interested in grabbing here. That is actually Kawhi Leonard. It is going to be a risky pick, of course, for the end of round 4, but there are fewer players in the league that play shooting or small, put up more points by Leonard, especially with um, Paul George out of town. Tyrese Maxey was, and he's gone. Have to worry about that so much. There's actually a couple players. I don't mind Laurie here in this situation as well. He's going to be double a whole lot defensive stats, and he doesn't do really this or anything like that there. Well, he's actually, but definitely is going to be there. Scroll down the list here quick. You have a couple first. I LaMelo would be a nice pickup here as well, but the problem with LaMelo is I already have 2 point guards, and I do need to spread out the love a little bit. I don't necessarily want to 5 picks because that really does handcuff me as the draft goes along. I'm going to go ahead and pick up Kawhi here. And for my second pick, is it's going to be interesting. I think I don't mind James Harden in this spot, but it's another point guard. I got 30 seconds left to choose. Evan Mobley wouldn't be a bad one because I think he's going to have a bit of a breakout year in Cleveland, but hurdles for him faster that team. And scoring is a real big deal. I think I'm actually going to go James Harden here. I can slot him in as my shooting guard. So it's also kind of a bit of a handcuff there for Kawhi Leonard because if Leonard does happen to get injured, then more of that score. Harden. So I'll jump into another draft here after this, just to kind of show you a different format. I wanted to do one snake draft here for you guys today, and I'll likely do a draft as well, just so that way you guys can see kind of how both work. You guys can kind of yeah, that's better. Hello, welcome to be. We are almost halfway through our draft here. You guys can see snake draft and an auction draft. I got the snake draft as a head points league, and we'll see kind of what we can do here. so I don't keep you guys waiting. We'll talk a little bit of strategy. I encourage you guys, for those who watch this on the live, or if you watch it on, if you have any questions on anything that I do, I'm always happy to help. I'm always happy to answer. Actually, on top of that, um, got a couple. I am doing a God's kind of advisor program that we partner this with Q. Basically, what it does is actually send out questions through this platform, through um, and I'll be able to get them, and I can answer them by sending you an audio reply directly back to you. Send photos of like your team. If you have any questions or your looks, if there's strengths or weak targeting and waiver wire, that kind of stuff. Or if you're doing a draft and you're curious about who you should be targeting as well, I'd be happy to help. I've been doing this since before the turn of the century. So I've got a lot of knowledge with fantasy basketball. Happy to be with whatever that line back in draft. Got 4 picks left. Kind of surprised to see Evan Mobley still out there. I might be targeting him in this round. One thing that I like to do here, and I didn't really get a chance to do this because I basically jumped right into the draft, but I like to actually work the make sure I highlight players that I think Manuel quickly starting basic point guard for Fred Van Vliet. I don't know why he's down. RJ. Oops. All right. Actually, Evan Mobley up by the ahead of me here. Can't get him. Let's see. Josh Giddey, I do like him, but I don't like him this. Butler, I think might be a better pickup here, provided we can get like he's going to be basically playing with Butler. It's a little old, I know. I got Kawhi too here, so my team's got a little bit of risk involved. Um, outside of him, for a points league, now I'm kind of in the middle of my drafts here. I'm looking to try and fill position. I could probably use their center here. Oh, it's a question whether or not I pick up Jaren Jackson Paxton. Yeah, I like Triple J in most formats, but in points, well, I think in round 7, go ahead and pick up Triple J. It's going to be in blocks, and of course, the blocks are counted. He doesn't shoot with a great percentage for a big, and of course, he's down that much. But if he can get me 18-19, you triple, couple of blocks a game, I'll with that. So as I was saying, I like to go in, kind of pick out players to focus on as the draft goes on. So we got Emmanuel quickly. Fred Van Vliet, I think, is a steal in this. RJ Barrett's a good one. Um, Cameron Johnson, not bad, but kind of how Kobe White down. I feel like I'm missing some guys. Alex Caruso's not a bad one to take a look at. But again, he's not going to be scoring a lot of points. This league is heavy for points. Struggle score hard time. Jalen Johnson there. I have no idea how he falls this low. This guy's going to be a beast. It says that he's day to day. Look, just a three involved in him. There is. Yeah, there's no news for him. So I don't know why he pushed down this. This guy is going to be second option. So for those who are setting up queues here, make sure this is a steal of a pick. Make sure you highlight Jalen. Get him on. I'm not going to wait till the draft to get him. I'm like possibly this next turn or the turn after. I really think he's going to be a contributor. And of course, he plays power forward, and I'm going to. Brandon Miller still being out here. Interesting player. I think Brandon Miller second year is going to get stronger. If he comes to me in turn here, I'm grab him. And this is also a little bit of a backup. Just ball happens to get. I don't have to worry about him now. Another one to kind of take a look at. Although I think that his ADP is a little high for most here, but I do think he's a player to. All right, so I think what I'm going to do here, Miles Turner at this. I think what I'm going to do is pick up a couple of players that have available this. Go ahead and grab Fred Van Vliet. That's going to show up my. And see, Miles Bridges, I think, is going to end up switching spots in the offense. There are the offensive with Brendan Miller at some point here, whether he gets traded or go to Brendan Miller often. That's not a bad guy to consider, at least in the top end of drafts. And if he happens to start off hot, you can look to trade him off. I want him over RJ Barrett, though. That's the question. I think so. Another shoot. You have Cam Thomas here, too. You know, I think let's go ahead. I don't normally like drafting this, but I do need a card. Um, Thomas is very one dimensional as a fantasy basketball player. He's going to score a ton of points for Brooklyn. I have no doubt, but I really don't think part in the offense or defense much outside of that. So RJ Barrett at least can kind of rebound a little bit. His free throw shooting leaves a little bit to be desired, but offense up for that. Whereas Cam Thomas, hopefully he scores enough points. Not, I guess we'll see. Now my next round of pickups here, kind of crossing my fingers that I get him, but I will definitely be targeting Jalen Johnson. About 10 picks to go before I can grab him. See if I can grab him here. And if I can get him in round 10, that's enough. I've been drafting him in Yahoo leagues. I've been drafting him as high as like the. That's where he's been ranked. I have no idea why he. Oh, kind of funny because John Morant is only rounds is where they were drafting early. Yahoo. I imagine that's changed now that everybody. But Jalen Johnson is a bonafide fourth round. Get him in round. Goes a value that you So we're gonna see if it falls to me. If it does, I'll be super happy. I would I will have considered. So I'm gonna also need another center by the looks of it here. Jalen Duran is still out there. I don't think he's gonna be out there by the time turn comes. JV is my favorite player. I actually have a Raptors jersey just to the left of me. So I would love to have him on the squad, even just for nostalgic reasons here, but pretty pretty high up. I don't know if I'll be getting him. Brooke Lopez, Clint Capella, Nurkic. Mark Williams is actually not a bad one. He should be the lead center, or he will be the lead center. Charlotte, and he's up there. Percentages. I don't really want a piece of Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford for that reason, because they're basically splitting the minutes down the middle. Although it can be argued that so will Mark Williams and Nick Richards, but I think Richards with, I believe Derek Lively. All right, so we got 2 picks left before mine. 1 pick left. My guy's still out there. As I look, I also see Kobe White's out there, so I might actually pick up a center in my last. Definitely targeting Jalen Jones. But crossing my fingers and hoping that he doesn't get picked. Ben's brilliant. Has been doing pretty good pickup. They wanted got the pick. Kind of hoping that he misses on Johnson here and picks up. Making me sweat here. 10 seconds. There we go. Okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. There is Jalen Jones. I'm going to draft him. He joins the squad. That makes me happy. I believe Jalen Jones is certainly going to be set. Question is, I kind of like Kobe White here. Gives me another guard, but I really do center. Taking a little bit of a risk here in that I back in. We're gonna go ahead and grab White. I think sense. He is gonna give. He is a shoot first kind of guard, but he and you can plug him in it. But I think my point guard situation well taken care of. I am gonna need a couple more bigs to close out this draft. So I've got Mark Williams on cue. That's gonna be targeting. I could target Clint Capella here as well if he happens to fall to me. I think Okongwu, frankly, Okongwu younger and I believe more definitely a better center. Go to my, JV's still out there. I might just grab Lippin. Pretty sure. Okay, so maybe I will queue up Zach Edey. Well, he has the ability to be rookie of the year of the picks for rookie of the year this season. Not be a bad one. Well, Jordan Poole's still out there. Again, this is a points league. He's to be atrocious with his percentage, but he's helpful. First, he is going to be helpful category. Bad one to target here. Terry Rozier sitting out guard, but more of a score. Third down to the last. Got 10 picks to go here with sorry. I got 2 picks to run since I first. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I think I've done everything that plays well. So it's head to head. 10 teams in the top 4 make the playoffs. This team is set up to be a provided everybody's healthy. My risks, of course, are Kawhi Leonard, Butler, and John Morant. So 3 players that I picked in the top half of this draft are a little risky, but I've drafted behind them really, really well, especially with and I really forward spot. All right. We're getting down to it here. So I'm looking to target Mark Williams, possibly back east. That's the direction we're. Well, I don't know if I really need. Now I think of this, I really need. I think maybe Mark Williams. There's some good names and stuff that's out there. Jeremy Grant is still out there. Mark Williams is definitely joining the team. Okay, so it's actually my turn now. Go ahead and get Mark Williams. Now I'm gonna have to figure out where I want to go. I definitely need a big. So whether it's a power forward or a center, I get one. I think I'm gonna pass on and maybe hope to get him waivers as my centers. Or if he happens to get hot, Cameron Johnson's gonna be one of Brooklyn more likely. There's also, and I don't know if I saw him. Noah Clowney. He's definitely a to kind of consider if guy poised to have a season here. You know what? I think I'll go ahead and pick up again a guy that you might be able to count on for 20. Not in a very good situation. I think that he'll be valuable enough to start the year and look trading him. Okay, so that's going to be it for this draft. Let's jump out of here. We'll enter the next one. Try to get in I don't like I don't like with ESPN. I don't know what team. I guess I'm gonna have right now. I've got three Charlotte teams at point. Not a huge fan of the way that I wish they would just give me numbers like they do. Yahoo so that way exactly what pitch. Um, that's all right. Small deal. So let's go ahead and join another. We're gonna do. We'll try our hand at a photo league gallery. Okay, so not too bad. We've got 4 slots available, 3 minutes starts. So let's go ahead and actually talk about strategy that I've got here for history league salary drafts here. Back in. Now with live rotisserie auction drafts, and you have to kind of forgive stuff here is based on Yahoo leagues, but a lot of it does play pretty much. So we have shooting splits, of course, that were are a category that is whole idea is you get as many possibly in every category. There is one category that I typically like that I typically like ignore, which is turnovers. I never place high in turnover categories, um, simply because I understand the fact that turnover leagues are turnover category players. Sorry, that turnover, but they are going to do that at the benefit of productive player in other categories, specifically assists. So, for example, James, uh, not a bad guy to target this turnover to assist wise because you're not going to see many power forwards. There's only a handful of league lead the league in a you got Scotty Barnes that will have the will out of that. Paolo Banquero is going to very well, but all three of those guys are going to rates compared to their peers. So I would rather target those guys because they're going to help categories that I score low on. So I don't mind. I don't looking at that here, but specifically in rotisserie league, shooting splits are paramount. You need to try your best to get guys that are efficient shooting. Does play a role. So if you get like bigs, for example, that are good pro shooters, they are a boon. So usually there is a player draft. Um, Joel Embiid. I don't know why. So Joel Embiid is a perfect example. Is going to aid your boost free throw percentage for your team. Usually in those kind of for those players for centers are not going to ball because they don't take enough free throws, or if they're are going to be taking with Joel Embiid, he shoots a lot of them, and he percent is massive. Of course, the only drawback to you're not guaranteed. I'd be shocked if he played. Now, we're for at least for a rotisserie league where that actually doesn't matter much and it happens around and I'm up, I will most certainly do so because even if he only plays 50 games, that's going to be 50 games at a center give me extremely good stats and useful stats to help me out. So it's not like I'm drafting him for a head to head where I feel like he's available when I need most. In roto leagues here or season leagues, you only really care about getting the most efficient, best work out of each of your position, build a spot within a road that you don't have to win and beat plays. That's all. So I'm going to go ahead and draft him if he happens to fall to second round, late first round, definitely in the second round. You want to target skilled and efficient players. We kind of already talked about that a little bit. You are looking for players that are going to contribute in a lot of categories across the board. I like to pick up players that do well with stocks, so that's both steals and blocks. A guy like Derek White, for example, comes to mind. He's not the best point getter out there. He is going to shoot percentage. Eventually, your lead guard position stocks between SG top five at least guards, backups, stocks. I kind of mentioned this already. Injury prone players are okay to draft, but it's a good idea to also draft their handcuffs. So, although in the case of Joel Embiid drafting, you have to be careful with that because he is going an awful free throw shooter. Work at center had in that case here, what I would suggest is make sure if you are drafting in this format that you go ahead and you own another center that will be able to step in, contribute. So a guy like and I prior, but a guy like Mark Williams, for example, behind a Joel, as he will be viewed at a respectable percentage. So that's that you had with him decision. He'll be best uh, best teams that have good free centers. And of course, he will box. Well, he's a good player to kind of target draft like that. And you also want to look for players who play multiple positions. This just allows you to be a little bit more flexible with the team you have. Some guy that happens to go down an injury, you can easily slide another guy starting into that position and fill the roster with the best player available. Let's just say it's Kawhi Leonard and forward, not tied to pick up the best power forward off the bench, slot him into the spot. You can slide a guy down power forward, slide him down better, better. That way you can. Going into the stages here. When you're looking at your drafts, your early rounds, picks 1 through, you want to pick up the best player that's available without busting your strategy. So my strategy, again, I'm looking to try and do an all-around type team. I do that for pretty much any style of draft that I I don't like to hunt categories outside of turnovers. Um, I just find that that puts you into a hole to try and make up. I like to pick up best player available that I can get, best all around that I can around within the first 50 picks. That's what I'm looking for. So your middle rounds between first 90th pick in the draft here, I'm looking to fill positional gaps. So if I've gone ahead and first 50 players that are up for bids, go ahead and pick a three really good guards and two really good centers. And with 90, I'm looking to fill in for my to make sure that I've got balance as best I can. Then in the late rounds, rounds 91 30, I'm looking to draft sleepers. So guys that I think are good. A lot of people aren't that. So for classic example that we did last, I'm shocked to a guy like Jalen Jones. There is no way he should be that worse. The fact that I was just learned. Um, Now for auction drafts, because there's 130 players drafted, rest of the players that go undrafted, there is going to be some talent still. So what I would suggest doing, try to go ahead and draft two players that would normally go in the first round of the draft. I would try to target players to reach for, uh, try to get on your team. I was successful in a couple of my leagues doing this, and one I got Victor Doncic, for example. That set me up for guard and center in that build the rest of them out with late rounds. I'm big on trying to go, relatively big early, and then just take a bit of a step back to let players and some of that draft capital that they have, and then towards the end, sleepers and stuff are still out there. Then I still have some. So we're just at the point here. We're just waiting for this draft to fill. Let's take a look to kind of at. I'm just fire off here. So there's still 4 spots available. I'm actually going to go ahead and change here. One thing that I'm not too sure of, I've only been doing ESPN basketball a couple of years. I've been doing Yahoo Fantasy Basketball since 8. Haven't really been a lot of ESPN. Last year was either way. It's been a couple of years. I don't know if there's a way for me to put my. But if there's anybody that watches this that knows the answer, feel free to let me know. Oh, I guess I could just either one of you guys kind of tell me there. Let's go ahead and take a look at some pre-draft rankings while we're in doing this. I can also kind of go over how this is set up. So if you take a look, um, you'll see here's all the players. You're going to start with $200. Don't have a draft list here, and then at the top they've got all full kind of different positions. Starting with point guards, you're looking through some of these here. Luca again at points leagues, and that's hard right in roto leagues, which is arguable. I would actually, I'd rather have Jokic be the top player here, but there's an argument there. Um, as I go through the list, I think $48 on Jalen Brunson's too high. $47 on Trae Young might be low. Tyrese Halliburton again, 46 might be. Fred Van Vliet at 14. far as I know, he's still starting point guard in Houston. Did you have Reed Shepard? That's coming up. That's coming up. Rookie Houston got a shot at getting here, but I really don't think that's going to be handing over yet. Still have a good year from. We're gonna. Well, I'll go through this here just to kind of see. Um, so I can show you guys set up here with salary cap and kind of get an idea. But yeah, I would totally target a guy like Fred VanVleet early. Jamal Murray at $11, same kind of idea. James Harden at 9. Now, for those who are kind of surprised to see Steph Curry here so low at 20, you have to kind of consider he's not exactly the best kind of player here for Roto leagues. He does well in category actually percentage. That might actually be Yahoo leagues. There's no way that I would pick up their points league because they don't even count a free throw percentage. They don't count field really free throwing elite categories that he can contribute to it at so the fact they don't count him, I'm out. But in this league here, I mean, if he happens to go for what I would like to, what I'd rather do, see if we can get a bidding war on him early because he's such a household name. I'd throw him out there early and see. That's going to take away money for benefit auction. Let's go and take a quick look to see Kobe White again. Derek White, great player to pick up. $5. I'd be Manuel Quickly again, $4. That would be something to target. Jordan Poole, $2. I would target him. He's not percentages, but he is going to be a big part of Washington this year. And I think he's going to have a better season this last year. So I would strongly recommend. I don't think there's a whole lot of other players to look at. Malcolm Brogdon's a good one. Start at the end. Should start in Washington. Dennis Schroeder again, $0 should be starting in Brooklyn. So there's a couple of guys. Scoot Henderson. Well, the jury's up on him. I might leave him on the waiver wire just to see start. But he's somebody that I would be keeping. Good pickup. But I would only pick up Scoot if he can get his 5% for him. That all right, let's move on to shooting guards here. So you'll find with shooting guards and small forwards, there isn't as many top flight players in point guards and centers, especially. We're down to 5 now. What? Here. Rankings overall category. We'll look shooting guards. There we go. So yeah, you're looking at guys who aren't going to be, as impactful. Like Anthony Edwards is potentially one of the next faces in the NBA, but sucks where 5 or 6 players. Donovan Mitchell, same thing. I'm still a little bit. I lean a little towards Donovan than I would towards if I can at this point. Next year, I think Anthony for sure, but right. Scotty Barnes, great player to pick up at 40. I'm in on Scotty Barnes. James Harden, we kind of already talked about earlier. Last draft here, I'll try to target him. Jimmy Butler, possibly Jalen Green. Pick him up here. For sure. Is going so high up in the other draft here, getting him for 8. Still, who else? Eric White again. Or Zach Levine at $4. We don't really know. Is definitely going to Chicago for as long that you can target. That will get you good stats at least one in the season. That if you want, you can. Bradley Beal. He's actually not bad. I shouldn't say that. Not bad in because they count percentages. This league, you'll be looking at cashing in excellent free throw and field goal percentages. He's not going to be a huge in many of the other categories. He's third, but he should be able to get you. Bradley Beal, not about. Devin Vassell, I actually like here as well. Austin Reeves, I like here. RJ Barrett, I like here. All those guys, relatively large. Austin Reeves, the big two. But RJ Barrett might be for in going to hurt you for percentages. Hopefully, he'll be solid enough in field goals this year. As long as he's driving to the showing over the last couple of percentage. His free throw percentage is definitely going to hurt, so you have to be careful with put him in trying to get good. Brandon Miller, absolute steal. Josh Giddey, Holiday. That's somebody good that you can target at the end. Anybody else that kind of catches my eye that I want to talk about? Shaden Sharp. We don't really know exactly how Portland's going to survive, but their responsibility might be somebody that I would look at, but I would rather pick up Brandon Podzemski. Not going to be a great shooter, but he's going to be involved in that. Pretty pesky on defense there. He's a guy that I wouldn't mind at draft here. I may look at getting him, but he's definitely going to be a guy. Jaime Jaquez Jr. kind of the same thing, especially if Jimmy Butler struggles out of the I would see as Jr. Okay, let's go over to small forwards. Again, we will have seen some of them here. Some of them, there's some new ones here. Jason Tatum. I don't really like drafting a guy like Jason Tatum here because his floor is about as big as ceiling. I anticipate that you're going to get $6 worth out of him. And I would rather pick up somebody like Scotty Barnes, who's going to that I would feel that you dollars going to be extra value for your draft. We're still waiting. So yeah, a guy like Jason Tatum. I mean, if I can get him on the cheap, for sure, I would go after him. If he gets up into the 50s, I'll pass. LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard. These two I can kind of lump in for roto leagues. LeBron not going to have the same percentages as Kawhi, but between the two, I think LeBron's going to lose games this season. Definitely going to. Well, probably give Kawhi the defensive stats there too. So between the two, I think they're going to be pretty evenly matched. If I can get them within that $30 range, comes to that there, I'll put a bid in. Paul George, kind of the same way here. He's going to be the third option in now, so we'll see how that kind of plays out. But I still think he's going to be valuable enough. I don't know if I'd go $22 on him. He happens to drop into the habit him. DeMar DeRozan, interesting one to pick up. He's going to help you in course, but he is going to be an elite shooter and good free thrower, and he's going to be a lot of that. So I don't mind looking at a guy here, especially with $10 spent. Somebody that I would key in on there. Sure. Franz Wagner, another one here, decent percentages. Going to be a big part of that Orlando offense. The offense isn't going to be like high octane by any stretch. They're definitely more of a defensive team, but it's going to be Wagner and Paolo Banchero here. And really, if you look at it, there's no way I'm paying $29 for Paolo Banchero if I can get. There's absolutely the values with. Um, let's take a look at some of the other guys here that we missed. Keegan Murray, still at $3. Denny Avdia is an interesting guy to pick up at 2. Again, with Portland, I really don't know exactly how that mash up here. May see that that I actually think that Denny's going to, at least at towards the end of the season. Grant, for example, I see the trade chip board there again. Michael Porter Jr. for $1. Yeah, I would go in for $1. Wouldn't go in for $10, which I have seen him last year. I would certainly go in. Klay Thompson, I know a popular pick. I don't really know how to get more open look, but you know, so much of that offense is taken up by Luka and Kyrie. There's not going to be a whole lot. In fact, like mid-teen scoring at best, pitching a good percentage, a good field goal percentage might get a tick up because got a better point basketball. All right, let's take a look at some power forwards. Going through this list here, Giannis at 60, absolutely not this type of draft. There is no way I'm going to be going that high. That's somebody that I will nominate, get drafted, and hope that he gets into the 50s. When you're looking at category drafts, he is going to be absolute drain. You basically have to free throws. If you are going to take a lot of them, he's going to make. He makes them at 70%. At a 70%, can't really count on him as well for 2.5, 3 stocks game that you were seeing out of him a couple years ago. He's not going to be doing as much. He's going to still be pretty good for possibly 2, but you need to step that up to 3 in order for value back. And of course, he's going to be turning over the ball. He's likely going to be your leader in 30 point, 10 rebound games, which is a huge plus for those categories. Absolutely. He's going to be too much of a drain in free throws. Going to be a pretty big drain in turnover, steals and blocks to be category. I'm going to pass on him. If somebody's bidding $40, I would go for it. He's not going to go for 40, of course. He's likely going to be in the 50s by the time the $50 mark comes up. Let's see. Who else can we take? Anthony Davis would much rather spend the money. Domantas Sabonis, going to be lacking in, of course, defensive stats. Going to be high turnovers, but he is going to be not bad in that. Again, you're looking at free throw percentage and turnovers. Unless you're deciding that you want both those categories, and just try to hope that you're elite in every other category counts. I'd be able to make. I'm certainly not going to. Much rather get it. Already talked about. Kevin Durant is actually a good player in this. Again, great percentages, which is what you want. What you want to target. He's going to be elite free field goal percentages. But he's definitely somebody. Paolo Banchero, again, I just said pass on him. Franz Wagner later. Zion Williamson, there's no way I'm paying this format. Again, he's not going to be good on free. Not going to be high on turnover. There's just too many red flags here. You don't know if he's actually going to play a full. There's no way. Much rather get a look. Jaren Jackson Jr. is an interesting one. He's going to hurt you, of course, in rebounding. But rebounding is a stat that you can pick up in positions. might be a guy that I target, but not super keen. Karl Anthony Towns, more of an all around type of guy. Probably going to be more. Pascal, and his defensive stats last year, I think, aberration. I imagine that better than the Hawks are. I would imagine he's closer to at $17. I think that's right around what I would spend for him. Jalen Johnson, you'll see him at $15 again. A player that goes for $15 here. So he's somebody that I might target here at 15. I'd rather get him at $15 than at 20, certainly than Zalo at 20. I'd much rather get it. Miles Bridges, and if he's below $10, I'll throw a bid. Once he gets above $10, I would much. Jimmy Butler, I'd go for him at $12. I think strong enough elsewhere. Jalen Williams is another all around guy. I'll target him at $12 for sure. DeMar DeRozan, again, good player. We kind of talked about already. Good player that I would. There's Franz at 8, 100%. I would get him. Evan Mobley at 7, 100%. I'd get him. Keegan Murray, we kind of talked about a little bit there already at $3. That's a get. Jeremy Grant at $2. At that point here, I think that's pretty much that I talk about there. And then lastly, let's talk about centers. Um, so Nikola Jokic, Victor Wembanyama, Joel Embiid, that category there, your top tier point or roto players for centers, those guys are worth the money. Joel Embiid, of course, maybe not so much out of them, but Jokic, I would certainly target. Victor Wembanyama, certainly target. Same reason. Joel Embiid, if he's below $50, I'll go for him. If he's in the $57 range here, I think I might be costly for him. Alperen Şengün, I think $44 is a little high, but I really do think season I may go that high if I haven't picked this point. Bam Adebayo, $40 again. I mean, he's gonna be a great center, but he's not worth 40. I'm sorry. That doesn't sit with me, especially when you look down the list. There's Chet Holmgren. No way. I would almost put Chet in that $30 and higher than that. No way that I would let Chet go. Kristaps Porzingis, he's going to be out for the majority of the year. You'll see it at that point. Productive player, good percentages. Happens to stay within the single digits. I'd go after him. Claxton, same idea. Great player at $7 for him. Evan Mobley, we already talked about. Miles Turner at $7, great guy. Jalen Duren at $6, great guy to pick up. Walker Kessler, I'm not 100% sure what the plans are with him this year in Utah. He should be a great player to target because I think he's going to have a bigger role. I think this year that they. So if you're looking at if somebody's looking to throw Walker Kessler list are up for nomination, he'd definitely be. But if you can get him for $5, that's a steal. Who else do we have here? Jabari Smith at $2. Yeah, I would do it. Mark Williams at $1. I would do that 100%. They also show you. I think that's pretty much it. So those are some of the guys that I would look at drafting versus dating. Hopefully that helps out As we're still kind of waiting here for a draft, I think I'm going to go ahead and leave this league. We're going to see. Let's take a look at maybe. Yeah, there's only. Trying to see if we can find something. Okay. Um, I want to try to do an auction draft here. Try to see if we got a couple of head-to-head points. Let's actually see what's available. Usually your snake drafts are a little bit more. There we go. Join a league. Category. Waiting there. I'd like to try and see if I auction. Looking like that's gonna not gonna be in the cards here. For that. Have to. I'd like to see if we can get into one. So let's try joining in draft. We did head-to-head categories. Last one. Let's try season close. Right. So Okay. Let's see if we can find something that's actually going to do one more draft here for tonight. Likely going to have to be another big draft. Fortunately, it looks like all the salary cap drafts are up. So why don't we a rattlesnake draft that see if we can find one that's got six. Okay, we're gonna leave it on season. And hopefully we can get into this draft here quick. Talk a little bit about season. I don't think I've I don't think I've got like the official ESPN talking points. I'm trying to use head point. We're gonna go ahead and switch strategies. I'm gonna show head to head point. He is very what kind of walk. So shooting splits again, they are going to be considered in this match for ESPN. For that point, you can't just pick up players that are great at every category. You do have to consider they count baskets for shooting. So getting guys that are efficient here is a good idea. That's going to bump down guys like a Zion for example. Free throws. I wouldn't be picking them up highly in a head-to-head season point. Definitely though, want to target players who have. That's going to be want to get guys category huge. What I mean, orange jersey. I don't know if you get there. So I'm wearing a Scotty Barnes jersey. Is the prototype that I use here when we're talking about players with expanded roles. He basically has the key. It's definitely going to be something that injured players are okay to draft provided they're expected to play for that for this year. Strictly a point. You can pick up injured players. It's actually not a bad idea to get them because you're only really concerned about get the position that you're going to be fielding during the throughout the course of the season. Get like a Joel Embiid with him metrics. The rest of them bench. You're gonna want to draft just in case. I look for players who play multiple positions. That's pretty much across all formats. You want to get the flexibility of your positions holds or three different holds. You're gonna want to get helps you out. All right. So stages. The early round, you're looking best player available. Again, without busting your strategy, I'm looking getting boring turnovers in this format. Uh, doesn't doesn't play not anything. I will my leagues. I want to get guys that actually handle the ball. That they're going to your middle rounds. Once all of the best players have been picked, you want to fill position gaps. So if I've picked centers, guards, and a shooting guard, I'm going to need to fill power forward and a small forward. Target those. In the late rounds, of course, I'm drafting my sleepers, so guys that have fallen off in some leagues. For those who saw the first draft here, you will up Jalen Jones. No way he should. He's definitely going to be. I'm going to be targeting to as the now in snake drafts as well. Don't be scared to start a positional run. Don't be the manager to end a run. Now, what that means is, let's just say you're stuck on centers in the team. Um, I wouldn't wait to pick up a guy. I would go ahead and try to get center there, and then the next, 15 picks, 6, 7 other centers get off the board. Turn again, you'll know that you got better value for the run. So very, very good idea to try and pick up. And that's kind of what plays within the gaps. If you have a gap there, pick up early enough so that way you're not having. All right, let's take a look to see kind of where we are at. Still kind of ESPN is not being very kind here for us, so let's back out of the draft right. So I will go and take a look at more popular ones. Of course, should pretty much off pretty fast here. Head to head point draft. Let's see if we only have one. We're gonna do a head to head points. So again, we're talking about or we're just gonna shift focus to head to head leagues. Yeah, for points, and really a lot of the same stuff happens except for now. Injuries do matter. You don't want to have to worry about fielding a guy. Leonard, they'll get them most. So I would rather pass those guys else and have to take the risk and take guarantee. Fully Jokic for sure. But we had a guy fill up the last spot and then he seconds and we I want to thank you guys again. If you've been watching this here, feel free to like on or subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. I am going to be covering fantasy basketball all season. Got lots of things lined up here. I've got draft kits for pretty much every format. I've already got a lot of the Yahoo stuff there. I plan on putting stuff out for ESPN as well. So keep an eye on the channel if you're those type of leagues for this year. Definitely want to take a look at the on the channel already. I have them stored playlists. Great if you're going on a long trip there and you just got 10 seconds left. We are going to have a full league and drafting head-to-head points right away. All right. Draft. So on pick 7, auto. Hopefully they'll make an appearance here. H. Now in pick 7, head-to-head leagues, head-to-head points leagues, that's when I would certainly target a much better in points than he proto leagues because he's going to take in points leagues doesn't hurt quite so much. Just worried total over the game. So you'll take that hit individually, but because they're not going to count um, free throws category. They're only concerned with players. So I don't mind happens to. No, I do have the 7th pick. We're gonna have to kind of see who happens top. Hoping that more guys actually that way. The auto picks don't just pick the first 5 guys. Obviously, I'm not going to get you. Doncic, Luka, Giannis might drop that far. Shea might drop that far. Either of them. Don't think I'm going to be going Embiid here. I might go Tatum, but like I said there earlier, I'm not a huge fan of Tatum feeling. It's very similar. Or I don't think I value this year out of that cost me really all that keen. That, but there might not be any. Bad. Now people are logging in, but of course they're behind my pick, and I was would log in ahead of my pick, but we drafting in 30 seconds. So yeah, first round, I'm kind of right outside that bubble that I'd like to be within the first 5 picks. I find the talent after that. So I guess we'll see. I didn't worry about his injury. I would definitely pick if he was available. As we figured, Victor was the first pick, Lucas second, Giannis is third. Jokic dropped a congrats to that team. Shea went pick 6. That's unfortunate. So I'm left with who I thought it'd be left. Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton. I'm gonna have to be Tatum, guys. Not super happy about it there. It is what it is. I would be much happier getting Shea. I think he's definitely much. Now on the turn, I see Scotty. I see Trey Young, Alprin. Bit of a stretch. If it happens to fall to me, I might look at him. I think he's a better risk for round 2 than he would be if I were to pick and beat after me. Tuckers is going to chance and hope that he's going to be available for that. If he is, perfect pickup. I just didn't. Not in a head-to-head league. If it was a roto league or season point league, I would have picked up head-to-head league where all that really matters. I'm going to likely make the top 4. I mean, I'll be guys. It's very rare that I top 4 I join, especially when you look at the picking right now. There's draft. I should be able to make it top 4. Now, Schmuckers doesn't pick up Tyrese Halliburton. I might just do. I'm going to need to get a guard, and I think we'll see what happens. Oh, he's not gone. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pick up Halliburton. Not in round 2. The guy that I really wanted to get, of course, Barnes. I just got good on him for being in the top rounds. Turn the corner and what is left. So again, in points leagues, I'm trying to get players that are going to be major contributors. Very, very important. Now, I'll tell you, usually at this point, I had a center picked out. I don't have a center yet, so I'm going to have to see get somebody. A lot of the centers are already gone. 6 are already gone. I'm not going to be left with a whole lot to choose. Chet Holmgren still. Kevin Durant still out there. Kyrie Irving still. Hoping maybe to pick up one of those guys here. Turn. But yeah, let's not huge on Chet here. I mean, hopefully he's going to fight. But I guess we'll see. Now I'm hoping to get like the next market Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Evan Mobley, Tyrese Maxey, Kawhi Leonard. I'd be very, very happy to get anyone. There goes Durant. Actually, what I'm going to do now, and I haven't done it, look at the two James Harden being breakout. Pick up some of that scoring with Paul George out of town. Brandon, there's a guy that I'll take a look at. I'll take a look at. Jalen Duran, I'll take a look at. Fred Van Vliet, there he is. At low. RJ Barrett, if he happens to come. Watching first part of this, crazy that a lot of the guys have been up here, but there's Desmond Bain. That's not a bad pickup. Melo Ball will likely have a big well if he stays healthy. Evan Mobley would be hurt to back in, but I think I'm still in the best place. This is a tricky one. Go. I was really contemplating Desmond Bain, but decided to go on Bam. I really do think and Bane. That's really what I'm targeting in the 5 picks. as the pick comes back around, I see James Harden sitting out queued up for me. I'm hoping that that's not a bad player. I think he's going to be probably take a hit with the last. For those who are watching, feel free to leave a like on the stream. If you're watching this on the replay, I want to thank you for spending some time here over some ESPN drafts. We're currently doing a head-to-head points league. I tried to do a auction league here for you guys, but it doesn't look like it's happened tonight. But stay tuned because it's very likely that I will be doing an auction draft. It's going to be open to the public. All right, here we go. Our turn. We're going to now I've got point guard and shooting guard pretty much taken care of. Harden and Halliburton are both. Got my small forward and power forward, and then I got centers. Really, I think what I'm going to do is another power forward or small. But I see Franz Wagner sitting out. Pick if he is, I would certainly pick him. Jalen Williams is actually not a bad one to pick. Well, one thing also, as I kind of mentioned, that I like to do average draft position or preseason. That gives me higher on somebody rank is. That might mean that they're scheduled to get. But I think at this point here, if I can get either Franz Wagner or Kristaps Porzingis isn't a bad one to consider. A little leery of picking because, of course, he's going to be out for half of the season here. But then it's a head-to-head league. All that matters is who Kristaps is. He should be there for. All right, so my turn is in picks. Franz Wagner is sitting out. That's the person. He will share offensive arrow. I really do Franz back. Fantasy player, down to pick. Let's see if I'm looking. Somebody picked up Fred Van Vliet in round 6. Nice pickup there. I was hoping his services. I wasn't going to. Oh, Schmuckers picked him up. Schmuckers got Franz Wagner. All right, so that means I'm going to have to take a look at getting else. And really didn't. Could go with the Darius Garland here. I'm going to go with Darius Garland. And somebody that I expect is going to have this year, last year. Hopefully he'll gel a little bit with. So I'm certainly now going to need. Probably should position that I target, just to try and again feel that position. Now in the middle part of the draft, now that I've picked the best players available, and I have 6 of them. Really, only there's a few of them that are out there. Hope is that I get first half's presenting well, and they have words, so I'm a little stuck here. Don't want to pick up another center, although Nick Claxton here might have to go with somebody that I don't really talk about too much. Kyle Kuzma going to be probably the best fantasy player out of Washington. Does have his holes in his. Will do enough here. 7th round. Careful with what I say. Okay, I will actually be able to get him now. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna draft Kyle Kuzma. That's gonna be much needed spot. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of guys that I've been playing on. One of the next picks here. My goal is to see Miller. All right, I am going to have next picks. I will rank 172. The hope is a lot of people have forgotten about him, and I can get him to 4 picks. Devin Vassell is another guy that I would consider getting. Staying away from Shannon Sharp, staying away from John. Breakout star in goal. Brandon Potemski. Oh, oh, hurt my heart. There goes Jalen Jones. Wonder if Steve's smart team is actually lit. But this is Brandon Miller's next. Pick the 2 guys that I wanted. That hurt. Vassell was the other guy I wanted to get. So those last 4 picks, that kind of well dry for me. Now, I don't know if I really want to card here. I'd ideally like to pick up another. Isn't it? I'm not picking up Sharp. I'm not. As Harris, Miles Bridges maybe, but we're gonna go ahead and pick up. Let's get him in. Garrett. Yeah, the draft is taking a little bit of a turn here for me. Not exactly. I'm not as happy with this result. I've been on, but no, I'm still in a good spot. Not sure but how what I will do though is queue. I want to pick up bridges again. I need a forward. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up another center. Jalen Durant. Jared Allen is sitting out there. He's still sitting out there. You know what? We're just going to go ahead. Jared Allen. That's going to. But we do need to pick Bradley Bill. Cameron Johnson. I have to dig deep. Cameron Johnson. Not going to be a whole lot else out there for me. Any Avdia. I'll likely target him. I'm going to need to. I only have two. Kuzma. That's not nearly enough. Definitely going to. I may hack as I might. Al Horford actually, man. Uh, basically back. Rest of this. No, I wouldn't normally do this. I haven't done this in any draft so far. I've basically I really don't any of them. Try to make Zach eat. I've Chase just because Grant is still out there. I already got three centers though. Boy, oh boy. God certainly has. Okay, what are we? I'm gonna go Cam Thomas. Our team's gonna guard heavy by the way. I'm still potential 24 with a unsettled position on the. I would look at Herbert Jones in roto leagues, but I'm not going to do it in spring. Yeah, so I think honestly at this point here, you would be picking up or looking to pick up sleepers, but a lot of the sleepers are already going. Goes Jeremy Grant, Mark Williams. Um, Aaron Gordon I was actually hoping to get, so it's a little. We're gonna go. Oh boy, we're gonna go with OG Ananobi. And just pray. I mean, he's going to be on the gotta be on Coach Thibodeau. He's going to rack up a bunch of defensive stats, but he's likely not. We'll have to see how that plays out. But I guess I could too far worse. Desperate position. So again, I got to remind myself I'm looking for point getters. Cameron Johnson out there is likely going to be a bigger part of the offense in Brooklyn with the Knicks. So Johnson is the guy that I target. Star Thompson's not a bad play. Roto League for his percentage because category box wise, he's better. All right, and that's the guy we're going to go ahead and grab here. Cameron Johnson's going to know who I actually. I'm going to take. Oh, he's not going to get picked here. We're going to go ahead and. This seems to be the format or the time when I safely consider grabbing him because I need boards. I can take a risk on a guy like this to actually break out. Okay, we're just finishing up here in the draft. Evan's energetic team picks ahead of me. Working the clock a little bit here. Hey, there we go. He's picked his choice. Bojan Bogdanovic. at our draft here. Let's take a quick back at first draft that we did. All right. Well, I think I think that's going to kind of wrap this up here for this. I'll have to do drafted. That should do. I want to thank you guys for joining me here. Hopefully, you found some of this informative here for you guys. If you haven't yet jumped into your drafts, I urge you to take a look at the draft kits that I prepared here on the channel. I will include them in the description box. But that's going to do it here for me for this episode. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to sign off for now, but I will certainly catch you guys here on our next episode.